Hey everybody, we're going to be using this stamp right here. This is Louise, You Crack Me Up today for our Easter card. So I'm going to get her out and we're going to be trying something a little bit new. So we're going to go ahead and take our A2 card size. This is hammer mill paper. I'm going to set it up on my Misty. Then I'm going to take my stamp here. Going to get it out, make sure it's not too tacky, and I'm going to set it on this stamp as I would like it to appear when my card is finished. So right now I want her to be right about here, centered on the card. So I'm going to put my magnets down to hold the base in place. We're going to close that up. Now we're going to ink that up, and then I'm going to be using our Stamptabulous tool to get her impression great. I'm just using my Memento ink pad in Tuxedo for this part. We're going to go ahead and close that up. And we're just going to use our Stamptabulous tool, and I've got this beautiful butterfly one here. Let's make sure. Let's stamp her one more time. Make sure she's extra dark. We get those lines in there great. Close that up. And there we have her image perfectly stamped. So now what we're going to do next is we are going to cut her out, but we're going to save this background because we're going to be doing some stenciling and ink blending on the background, and then she's going to be placed back into the open space that we cut her out of. So let's go ahead and cut her out. Alright, now you can see how we have her cut out, and I used the Brother Scan and Cut to make sure I had a 0 line. You can use the outline die as well, but now we're going to use this background piece and save on paper. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to use our Cloud Builder stencil and our Grass Builder stencil, and I'm using flat shakers, so I'm using the Happy Spring mix and the Easter egg mix that we carry in the store. And I'm going to go ahead and just tape this down to my mat, and I'm using that sticky pad to hold my inks. I'm going to be using Caribbean Sea and Clear Skies for my clouds, and then I'm going to be using Bamboo and Apple Green for my grass. So I'm just going to go ahead and put those on my sticky pad. I'm going to line up my clouds, and I'm just going to start lightly inking everything in and just moving down and selecting how I want the clouds to be in there. So you can choose any stencil you want for your background, but I just thought this would be nice and easy. So I'm just going kind of back and forth and alternating the colors of my clouds and position just kind of where I want them. It's totally up to you. But I'm going to go down to about the bottom of her egg with this cloud sky background. And again, just keeping it simple, just blues and greens, just so that the card and the image itself really stands out, and the sprinkles. And again, we're using the A2 shaker pouch, so it's an infinity shaker card in the end. So here is my bamboo and my apple green, and I'm just going to alternate these as well, and I'm going to use that grass builder stencil and just kind of place it where I want it. And then we're just going to build our scene from there, just bringing the grass down layer by layer, alternating. And just where there was like a little bit of white space in between the blue and the green, I just kind of lightly added a little bit of green in there just to get everything to kind of match up. And now we've got that bottom part in. You can see there's just how it's going to work. Alright, so we're going to be taking our Louise and we're going to be using a stencil to create a pattern on her Easter egg shell. So I've chosen this Stamp Anniething stencil with the wavy lines, and I'm using a Faber-Castell Pitt Artist Pen in black 199, and it's extra small. All we're going to do is trace out our lines where we'd like them, and you're just going to do this as carefully as you can. I may have made a boo-boo or two because I was not as careful as I should have been, just like right there. But you can go ahead and use any stencil in your collection that you want, that you might think might look cute or adorable on an egg, and just fill it in using your black fine tip pen so you'll know where to place your color later. So I'm just going ahead and I'm going to fill in all the little parts of the egg. Now there are the little extra shell pieces, and I just did some freehand lines on them off camera. And right now I'm just marking where I want that stencil to kind of match up at the top. Now later on I do go ahead and I accidentally forget that I did that and I mess up the colors, but you can't really tell at the finished card. It still looks super cute. But if you do have something where you want to split it in half when you're stenciling, you want to break it up and create that top half of the egg like it just opened, you just want to make sure you know where you're going to line it up in the end. And there we have her all stenciled. Alright, it is time to get her colored. So we're going to be using R29, R19, and WG05 in our Ohuhu markers to get her skin tone colored. So we're going to start with our R29 first. So that is our pear color. And we're going to go ahead, we're going to put that into the top of her ear. And we're going to come right across her hairline. Her hairline and slash her eggshell line. And then we're going to put it to the right hand side of her neck and to the right hand side of her hand here. And we'll put a little bit into her nose. And I'm going to come down just a little bit here in her forehead. I'll try to keep that on screen for you. My apologies. So next we're going to go to R19, which is our barely beige. And we're going to go over what we just colored. And I'm going to go right above that eyebrow on both sides. And I'm just going to bring it across. I'm going to bring it into her ear, mid-ear here. And I'm going to bring this color around her chin and her cheeks now. A little bit into the neck and into that arm, just a little further out here. What I'm also going to do now is I'm going to go around her eyelid line, just on both sides here. And then, whatever way is most comfortable for you, I'm going to stay outside this line and I'm going to just create a circle here. Just so I keep a section around her eye white. So it kind of looks a little silly right now, but it'll look better after. And now we're going to go to that WG05. So that is Warm Gray 0. And we're just going to go in over what we colored, and we're going to blend it through her face. And into her ears. And in over her nose and mouth. And just kind of making sure that everything's nice and saturated. And then we'll go into the neck, blend that through, and then into her arm here. So you just want to make sure that everything is nice and saturated, nice and blended in your face. There we have her face blended. So now we're going to take our E050, which is Lipstick Natural, and we're going to put it on either side of her tongue. Now this E5 or 050, if you're familiar with Copics, is very, very similar actually to the E4. So now I'm going to go back in with my R19, the barley beige, sorry, and we're going to put that into the tongue, and we're just going to blend that around. So next up from her skin, we're going to do her hair, and her hair is going to consist of E170, E240, E220, and E210. So we're going to start with our darkest, which is our E170, and that is our Carib Cocoa color. So right here. So she doesn't have a ton of hair, so we're going to go very sparingly right here. We're just going to add a little bit into her ends. So we're just going to kind of flick. So that was our 170. Now we're going to go into our E240, which is our chamois color. And again, we're just going to kind of just sparingly use it and just kind of add just a little bit more color. And just add it up, flicking it up. Then our E220, which is our sand color. So now I'm going to turn her around, and I'm going to start to bring it down a little bit with the sand, just from under that shell. Just right in there. Then finally our E210, which is our brick beige. And we're just going to fill in our mid-tone color right there. Or sorry, I should say our lightest tone, which is in the mid section of her hair. So now I'm going to go back in with my darker color, which is my E170, that Creed Cocoa. And I'm just going to go in and add a little bit of that definition back in with some of that dark. And I'll add it in just some places too, from around her hairline. This is kind of personal preference as well. And again, I'm going to go back in with that E240, just that other little darker color, and just add a little bit more of that again too. Spin her around. There you go. And then now we have her hair colored. So for her shirt, I'm going to be using B260, B220, and BG3. So our B260 is called Smoky Blue. So we're going to add that right at the bottom here, going up the side of this egg and into the shoulder. We're going to leave that shoulder, we're going to completely color that in with that smoky blue. Then we're going to go to our B220, which is our pale grayish blue. Oh, and let's use our brush nib, not our chisel nib. Zoom in a little bit here for you. I'm going to put this on the right hand side of that shoulder. I'm going to go in a bit over where we colored here. So she's kind of got like a little bit of like a jumper on and then a t-shirt underneath. Next, we're going to go in with our BG3, which is our blue-gray. And that's our last color. We're going to put that right in the top here. And then we're going to bring it down. Just to blend that in. And we're going to use this BG3 by itself just right here in the collar part. So we're keeping her coloring kind of simple. So next up, while that stuff is drying and we're going to moving on to the egg, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my white gel pen and I'm going to add her highlights to her eyes. And I like using white gel pen and I like giving her 2 symmetrical highlight points on either side. So for the egg, so in those trace spots, I'm going to be alternating my colors a little bit. So I'm going to be using yellows. I'm using Summer Lemon and Lemon Chiffon. So that's 0Y50 and 0Y30. And I'm using a light violet. So I'm using V250, which is light lavender, and V230, which is viola. So I'm going to start with my yellows. I'm going to start with that Summer Lemon first, so that's at 050 right here. And I'm just going to decide, okay, like where is my, which is going to be my yellow. So I think I'm going to start here. I'm just going to go up. And then this is going to be purple. This one can be yellow. That would be purple. This one can be yellow. That one will be purple, purple. This one will be yellow, and that one will be purple. And that's gonna be purple. Then I can do the same up here, and I'm actually gonna turn it around to make it a little bit easier for myself. So I'm gonna say, this one will be yellow, this one will be purple, this one will be yellow, that one will be purple, this one will be yellow, that one will be purple, this one yellow, that one will be purple. So I'm going to make this one yellow. So now we know where our yellow is going to be. So now I'm going to grab that lighter color. So that is our Lemon Chiffon, our Y030. And I'm going to go ahead and bring that in from the tip down into that darker. And of course, you can make your egg pattern any color you want. And you may have used a different stencil, so it all depends. So there are our yellows, and then I forgot we got some up here to do too, but we'll get those after. So now we're going to go into our V250, which is our light lavender. And we can go ahead and place that color in now. And as you can see, we're just kind of coloring the bottom half here. We're going to make this one lavender. So up here, I'm going to spin this around. And then this one's going to be our lavender one. Lavender. Lavender, yellow, and let's see. Not sure if I'm going to color that one in. Well, we're going to leave it for now and we'll see what happens. So now I'm grabbing the lighter color, the viola, which is V230. And we'll go ahead and we'll blend those together now. Here you can see my mistake. That's okay. We can pretend it's a crack in the egg. And you want to make sure that when you do color, you're going to go over it so that you do make sure you get like a nice blend. Don't really want any harsh lines in there. So you can see when I just do one coat of this, you can kind of see that if I just put in one layer of this light violet, it doesn't really blend. But if I kind of go over it a little bit more and bring it down into that dark and back and forth, that we start to get a really nice and more subtle transition of our colors. I think it's kind of a cool looking Easter egg, kind of stripey. We're gonna go purple with this one and yellow with that one. So now that we know, so purple, and like I said, this one's gonna be purple, yellow. So we're using the darker yellow here, and we're using the darker purple in here. And then the light yellow. And then our lighter purple or violet. And right now, here we have our cute little Louise. Now, I am going to color these little tiny pieces. Oh, I hope I didn't lose one, because now I feel like I'm missing one. Oh. Let's just say I hope I find it, because I know there's 4 parts of the eggshell here, and I only have 3 that I can see. But so all you're going to do is I did go ahead and I put little lines on these, and I just did them freehand. These were the cutout eggshells, so I just did little freehand lines, and yeah, hopefully I find that piece. Oh, it'd be nice if I showed you up on camera, but these are where I just drew freehand lines. Now, some of them here, like this tiny one, I'm not going to draw any lines on, or I didn't. So I'm just going to color it purple. Just going to make that easy. And this one, we'll do this bigger piece, that violet in through here. And then maybe this one right here, just in that little tip, we'll do that yellow. And hopefully once I can find that other piece, we will get that colored as well. Okay, it's time to start putting our card together. So you're going to bring back your background piece right here. Zoom in a little bit. So you're going to want to attach your background piece to another piece of cardstock cut out to the same measurements. So we're just going to go ahead and we're going to glue that on, just using our Stamp Anniething glue, because you're going to want something to attach your cutout pieces to. I'm just going to throw that right on there. And I'm just using my fingers just to press it down right now. So now we're going to what am I even saying? So now we're going to glue our Louise back into place. Put a little bit of glue on her. And we're going to go ahead and now we fit her right back into where she was cut out from. Now you're probably going to want to use tweezers here because you're going to want to put your little eggshell bits back in. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to place a dot of glue in each of the spots where it's going back. And we can see our pieces right here on the side. So we're going to just put them back in the way they came out. So right here, we're going to go ahead and place that right there. This one, yep, this one fits right in here. Oh yes, and this was a piece I was missing, so I did find it. And you can see that they're colored in and they look like they're like little pieces of broken off shell again. And the tiniest one right back here. And there, before we put any, before we put the shaker card top on, that acetate, we want to make sure that this is dried really well because we don't want any glue catching any of the little shaker bits that we're going to be placing into our card. So you're going to want to let this dry before we do the next step. Okay, we have given this some time to dry so that nothing's going to stick to it. So now what I've done is I've cut this down to 5 1/4 by 4 so that I could have a background piece to it because I thought that I wanted a little bit of a frame to set this card out apart still. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to glue this down to our blue cardstock background. So nice and easy, and I just want to get that as centered as I can in there, and I don't want the glue too close to the edges again because we're making a infinity shaker card and I don't want any of that glue kind of popping out the sides even though it dries clear. So we're going to go ahead and just get that down. All right, so when you get your A2 shaker pouches, it comes in a pack of 10. And you're going to have the white sticky parts that are like the double-sided tape that you just peel off, but it does have a protective film on it as well, just to keep it clean. So if you want, you can leave that on until the end. So what we're going to do is we're going to turn this over, and then we're going to grab our adornment. So right now, I'm going to use some of our Easter egg sprinkles. So we do have these in stock in the store. So I am going to place just a few of these Easter egg sprinkles in there. I think that's enough. And then I have a little bit of this spring mix, or the Happy Spring left as well. And again, you can use kind of whatever you want, but I thought I just want to toss in just a few of them just to kind of shake it up. Did you get the little pun there? That was kind of lame, but it is what it is. So just gonna set those right in there, and then all we need to do now, it's pretty easy. We're just going to place our shaker right on top, or our colored base, and we're gonna go ahead and kind of center that in there. And then we're just going to fold over our sides and press it down nice and firm. And then you can take off your next piece of adhesive protector. We're going to go ahead and we're going to fold that up as well. Make sure my shaker bits aren't in the way. Whoop, get that one out of there. So yeah, if you have any shaker bits near the edges, it'll be harder to stick down. So you're going to want to make sure they're kind of like up in the middle. So Then I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to take this next piece off here. And again, we're just going to fold it over and stick it down. And you can see here some of the protective film is coming up already, so that's okay because we want it easy to take off the end. And then right here, we're going to add in our last top fold, just like that. And then you can put this onto a card base right after. So we're going to go ahead. You know what? Let's grab this edge right here and start to peel off that protective layer. And you'll know if it's on there because it makes it a little bit dull. And it says remove protective film. And then you can see here now we have our cute little infinity shaker card. So sorry about the glare from the ring light here, but you can kind of see here how we've got our little Easter eggs and spring bits at the bottom. So it's super cute. So I hope you enjoyed making this card with me and making an infinity shaker. And of course you can add more shaker bits in there if you want to and make them any design that you would like on your egg. But I thought she turned out super duper cute. Let's tilt her up like that and see if we get a little bit of that ring light glow off of there. But thanks for joining me and have a happy Easter.